Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of eHeroes for those keeping count. This is episode 301. So we broke the 300 mark, and we're going to continue. And for all you people out there, and I know this is a this is a subject of big contention because we're going to talk about amplifying your brand's voice. And a lot of you are confused with what your brand is, how you amplify it, why you even need a voice. And so we're going to give you the prescription. And being that it's a prescription, I actually brought on the social media doctor, Caitlin Young, and we're just going to blow through this podcast and give you all kinds of mind blowing ways, I would hope, to increase or amplify your brand's voice. So, you ready? Caitlin, you ready?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here.
It's I started this podcast in 2018 and I never realized that I'd get to this, you know, this number, this impressive number going past 300. And,
Yeah.
I've done it based on my personality and it's become my brand's voice. People are
Yeah.
like, Rob, you're very sarcastic. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed. That's who I am, you know. And then they read my books and they're like, oh God, Rob, I need therapy now because it's so sarcastic. But not all the books are sarcastic. Some of them are just very educational, especially the last one, The Unscripted with Steve Gamblin. And if all you listeners don't know what that book is, it's basically a culmination of 7 interviews I did with Steve that became a book. So you can always go back through eHeroes and listen to all the interviews I did. In fact, I prefer that you binge watch them 1 through 301. Just it'll take you years. But for me, it's always been about taking that information and compiling it and making sure that it's out there for everyone, whether it's in print, whether it's in video, whether it's in social media. And all fair, Caitlin and I were having kind of this debate where I love macro content, which is the books, which is the podcast, which is the longer lasting content. But Caitlin likes the micro content, which is the social media, which is the posts that sometimes, don't have longevity. Maybe a 2 second cycle, and then people are like squirrels and they got to go to find their nut somewhere else. Um, I think, and I think that's the problem. You know,
Yeah.
we've been so tuned into social media that we just scroll, 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 and then everything becomes a blur. And I think that's what's made it hard to amplify your brand's voice. So I'm going to stop talking and let Caitlin fill you in on her knowledge.
Yeah, thank you again for having me on. And I agree on the book. Steve sent me your book and I like loved the conversation. It was cool to have a podcast kind of like inside of a book, like being able to go back and forth between the two voices. So that was a really cool book. But as far as like the content and attention span, you hit it on the head. Like our attention span's so short. Like I read a article last week, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems true to me that our attention span is down to 1.85 seconds, which is insane to me. Like, but at the same time, with how much we're scrolling through social media and how fast people are going through content, it doesn't surprise me. Because like people see something they like, cool. Oh, scroll, scroll. Like you were saying, we have such a scroll brain nowadays. It's insane. But I absolutely love it because at the same time, like being able to make content that keeps people longer there for a reel or something like that, that tunes them in and doesn't turn on that squirrel brain is like my favorite challenge. It's like, how can I keep the squirrels on the video longer
Yeah.
than 2 seconds? If I do that, I've won. So, yeah.
We've become the fish in the fishbowl.
Mhm.
That our attention spans are horrible right now, and it's hard to break this away from people. Especially, you say, go outside and enjoy the weather. I don't want to go outside. I just want to stay and scroll.
Or they go outside, but they're sitting on the porch and they're just like scrolling through, and you're like, that's not the point of going outside.
Yeah,
Like,
I
give
was
me your umbilical cord.
last month I was at
Go.
Disney World, and you would think that, a huge place like Disney World, people would just drop their phones and just, look around. But nope, everybody's on their phone, scrolling. And I'm like, you're not even enjoying this awesome resort or the parks or crazy.
No, yeah, it's insane. It's especially like as each generation comes up, it's getting worse. Like it's getting people are like from little like from when they're two, I see 2-year-olds having phones and they're sitting there just scrolling on their iPads, their phones and things like that. And if they don't have theirs, they have their parents, right? And
Mhm.
that's how like people are keeping them entertained, because we've lost the ability to, at least when I grew up, we were sent outside with sticks and we were like having sword fights, and having fun with the things of nature and just being kids. And so, but going back to, the attention span stuff, it's finding ways to use that to an advantage as a marketer, finding ways to use that to educate our clients and keep them entertained at the same time is my favorite thing to do.
On the wall in back of you, you have a sign that says putting the love or the heart back into social media. And I think that things have changed. I got on social media, I think back in 2008 or nine. So, it's been 16 years. And it was a lot easier to get people's attention back then. Not as many people were on. Um, but there was also not as many restrictions that Facebook was putting on. So I
Yeah.
think what it is now, what less than 2% of your list is actually seeing your posts. And I
Hmm.
think it's probably half of that. I mean, honestly, I see the same people over and over and over again. I'm like, wait, I'm at my 5,000 limit, and I probably the same 50 people are seeing my stuff
Yeah.
or commenting. And I'm thinking, okay, where's the other 4,950? What are they doing? Are they not seeing? But and LinkedIn, I've been spending a lot of time on LinkedIn because I have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I think your limit there is 30,000. And
Yeah.
I can't say I get a better engagement on LinkedIn, but I get better types of people because they're entrepreneurs. They're looking for my service. People on
Yeah.
Facebook are not really looking for my service. Most of them are family, most of them are friends or, school colleague, and it's like, they're not my customers. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it can be for me that was the case for a long time too. I am like the opposite LinkedIn. Like I'm like I like to be a little sassy and stuff, and my humor doesn't always hit as well on LinkedIn as it does on Facebook.
oh, I know
And
that.
so so it's, my personality, because my whole mission is putting the heart back in social media, being authentic to ourselves. And so on that mission, I had to figure out what platforms aligned with my brand, what
Mhm,
my brand was, who it was for. And by doing that, like I started attracting the right people. It's funny how when you're yourself and you just like are who you are, you repel the weirdos, you repel the people that are like not your ideal client, not your ideal audience. They kind of disappear, or they make a stink and you make them disappear. Because
mhm.
you block them, you unfriend them, whatever it is at that point, because you're like, I'm just not going to deal with this on my timeline. But as I've crafted that brand, and it took me a bit, like at first, when I first started thinking of a brand, I was like, cool, I'm going to make a logo, I'm going to find colors, and then I'm going to post, and then there we go, I have a brand. And it took me a while to realize that's not what a brand is. A
Mhm.
brand is like a personal brand, in my opinion, is you, is everything you do. It is how you act, it's how you show up, it's how you speak, it's how you do everything. Those are your unique markers that make your brand stand out. And when you start posting consistently personally on your timeline, that becomes your brand. Every post you post is your brand. Every email, everything that you do is all brand. And so once I realized that and started creating content around that and around stuff that my ideal clients love, but was still true to me, that's kind of how it, I was like, oh, there is something to this, but it took me a while to get there.
Well, most entrepreneurs love their logos. They spend big
Hmm.
bucks on their logo. And I have a logo, but you know what? Nobody cares about your logo unless you're Coca-Cola.
Yep, true
Your
facts.
logo's not going to do you diddly squat. And people are like, well, I trademarked this. I did this. I did. Well, that's great. But you know what? No one cares. Honestly, they care
Yep.
about you as the person. I've always said, and the whole thing with the social media, know, like, and trust. But I've always added that extra element that feels safe. And so when you combine it, know, like, trust, and feel safe, people are like, well, Rob, I feel safe with you because I can resonate with you.
Yes.
And so that becomes part of my brand. Whether
Mhm.
I'm sarcastic, whether I'm, you know, crushing a scammer, people love that. They
Yeah.
say, well, Rob, you're your authentic self. You're raw, you have integrity, you have all these things. And so that becomes my brand. So now
Yeah.
it's, if they perceive you as someone who's very serious and you're straightforward, you don't joke, that becomes your brand also.
Yep.
So it's you're going to attract the people that are just like you.
Exactly. Exactly. I have seen that play over and over again. And I love your posts with the scammers. Like I look forward to those. Like I laugh each and every time because it's like I that's one of my like biggest pet peeves is the DMs from people that are constantly trying to market to you. And my favorite ones are the marketers that don't realize I'm a social media marketer because they didn't even read my profile. Those are my favorite.
Right. And it's just and I started just posting those as a whim, just to bring laughter into people's lives. And I
Yes.
didn't realize that they would explode the way they did. And people were like, well, Rob, assemble them together in a book. We've read all your other books. We want a funny book. And so, Rob versus the Scammer started the whole Rob versus series. And now there's 8 books with 2 more coming out, a potential for a TV show. Um, so I was with a studio last week, and so there's big things that happen, but everything takes time.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
even in my first book, which was called Share, it was all about social media, and I shared ways for people to make their experiences with social media better, but also it was simple, and everything that I do is simple. I don't like complicating stuff. I don't like having books that are too thick. I want to make sure that people are going to be able to read them in about 2 hours and go about their lives. And so when you take everything that you do as a brand, people need to know that you're not going to complicate their life. And so when they look at everything that I do, and I, Rob, you're doing all this stuff. How do you have time? I simplify my life. Yeah.
Simplicity is the way to go. Like I am 100% guilty when I first started my thing of making it the most complicated thing in the whole world. Like I had like all these different things going on and I was trying to manage it all and then it was time to bring someone on and I was not able to train them right or do anything right because I had squirrel brain here, squirrel brain there, squirrel like and only I knew how to you do it all, right? So then it was like unscalable because no one has like a special needle or something that they can access my brain to figure out what Caitlin's thinking.
Yeah.
Like when they come out with that, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Like we'll be great.
Well,
But
it was if we went back 5, 6 years ago, I would have calendars all over my office on the walls. It would say when I'm posting what stuff and how, and but I would spend hours printing this stuff out, writing in stuff, figuring out where I'm going. And I'm like, God, I can't continue to do this. This is just wearing on me. And so I started using a product called Social Bee. I mean, there's other products out there, but I've automated all my social posting and I have thousands of pieces of content. So I know what day it goes out when.
yeah,
But I've themed them all out so that, Monday could be Motivation Monday, Sunday could be, Weekend Wisdom, Tuesday's Testimonials, Wednesday could be a blog or a podcast or a video, but with every day being a different theme, I know going through the scheduler, okay, the scheduler is going to pick up this on this day and this and this. I never have to worry about what's being posted now,
yeah.
and so once a week, usually I just go in and take all the blog posts that I've written and add them into the repository there. I've saved 20 hours a week just doing that,
I bet. I bet.
and but there are still people out there that are doing it old school, trying to figure out when they're posting stuff, how they're posting it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, when I switched to having a calendar that I knew exactly when things were going out and like had a plan, like every 15th of the month, I know is calendar day. It's when we're putting everything together on what strategy for each of the clients. They know they're receiving the calendar that day. Life changed. I was like, oh my gosh, every 15th, I know I have this and we're good. Like I don't have to go each and every day go, okay, what am I gonna post?
Yeah.
What am I gonna post? Like,
And a lot of times what I'll do now is if I if I have a blog post that I think is pretty brilliant, well, I think they're all brilliant. Just some, ones that may attract better than others. I'll just quickly make a video and highlight it, and then I'll throw it on TikTok, throw it on Instagram, throw it on LinkedIn. And it takes me, you know, well, this morning I think I did like 12 bloopers before I got the thing to work right.
Oh,
Um,
bloopers are my favorite.
but
I literally will make like reels and reels on bloopers. It's my
yeah,
favorite torture for my clients.
yeah, and bloopers are one of those things that share them out. You might not like the blooper. You might think it's silly. You might think it's, not professional, but people love bloopers.
Mhm.
And I've gotten so much business out of bloopers. It's just people are like, Rob, why do you keep posting bloopers? Because they're funny. Yeah, they show that I'm not, a superhero. I mean, I make mistakes,
Yep,
and it makes them easier when they try to make videos because they can see that even someone who's been making videos for years makes mistakes. So
exactly. Exactly, and that's huge. Um, I have someone on my team that edits my videos because if I were up to me, I've learned that I like create them very last minute because I put myself last. So, being able to have someone that I'm accountable to.
mhm,
Um, but I told her, I was like, you can make blooper reels all you want. And she's like, are you sure your social media? I'm like, yeah, do it because like you said, it shows that I'm human and I make mistakes. And if I'm willing to be funny and silly too, and I'm a professional in this area, my clients are more at ease with it. They're like,
mhm.
oh, if she's willing to do it, it's okay.
Yeah. I challenge my clients all the time, make a video a day. And they're like, you're out of your freaking mind, Rob. I can't do that. I don't have time. And they're like, I and I'm sorry, but women have the more excuses. Well, Rob, my hair's not done. I need to prepare makeup and
It's true.
and all the excuses that you just gave me, you could have just made a video.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's one of my favorites is I don't have time to make a video. I'm like, well, you're talking to me right now, which means you have 30 seconds to shoot the video and put it
yeah,
up.
yeah, it's and not to discount TikTok, but you know, the algorithm on TikTok is insane.
Hmm.
And so you put a video on TikTok and you're going to get a whole bunch of traffic. And I know that you're not going to get it on YouTube, but here's the thing. Put your videos everywhere. Put them
Yep,
on TikTok, put them on LinkedIn, put them on Instagram, put them on Facebook, put them on YouTube. You never know where your message is going to resonate with somebody.
facts.
And I've
I
gotten
agree.
clients, you know, they said, you know, somebody made fun of me one day because I had 3 views on a video on YouTube, and they had like 10,000 views on their video on TikTok. And I said, "Did you make any money on that video?" And they're like, "What do you mean? Did a client contact you?"
From that
And
video.
and they said, "Well, no, not yet." I said, "You know, out of that 3 views, one person contacted me, and I had a $25,000 sale."
Yeah, that's the other
So,
thing that drives me insane is these people that will buy followers, buy all these bots and stuff to look like they have this huge following, right? But then when you look at the back end, they're not making any money. They're not
mhm,
making anything in investments. They just are doing the showboat online, right? This look at how cool I am, but then you go look at their engagement and it's, oh, they have like 750 likes, but their reach is 100.
yeah,
Like, okay, how does that work?
yeah.
Like,
I was
um,
looking at one of the big gurus out there, and I'm like, okay, your Instagram numbers don't make sense to me, you know. And then I went over to their Facebook, and you know, they're supposed to have 100,000 followers. Their engagement is shit. They got, you know, a couple likes, couple comments, but I'm like, I gotta click on a comment, and it doesn't even look like it's a real profile, you know.
yep,
And
it's just
and
the emoji comments, or it's like, great job, super generic
yeah,
comments.
and
And
it's like, okay, you know what? You gurus can buy your fake likes and fake followers, and you know, we can detect that.
mhm.
Um,
That's exactly. When I have a new client meeting or anything, the first thing I say is if you are coming to me to grow your following, I'm not the person for you. I am here to help you make sales and to create know, like, and trust with your clients. If you are here to get 100,000 followers, here is a site you can go buy them and see how that works out for you. But I'm not going to work with you if you did that because
no,
I've done that. I am 100% guilty when I first started. I thought that was the way to go because I didn't know better at the time. And you know what it did? It ruined my TikTok account.
mhm.
Never was able to recover it. It was like I can post on there, but it's absolutely crapshoot because I'm like targeting people in India instead of like people here in the United States. And that taught me that lesson. Like this is a no-no,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you
But
know, let's talk
yeah,
about that because it's not just about buying likes. It's about going after the wrong avatar.
yeah,
You know, so if you're buying likes and all your followers are from India, and you're from, you know, some little brick and mortar in Cincinnati, they're not going to work.
yeah.
So, you know, what do you
They're
do?
never going to
Well,
be your client.
right. So, you know, if you're in Cincinnati and it's a little brick and mortar, let's say it's a laundromat. You know, why don't you take videos of people doing their laundry in your laundromat? Why don't you take videos on how simplicity or how simple it is to use those, you know, washers and dryers? You
Hmm.
know, take videos on answering people's questions. You know, hey, how much is it going to cost? What detergents do I have to use? All this, and so you're putting them out there to target your local market. You know,
Yeah,
and so you're going to start to be that go-to person because now they're like, wow, okay, this guy's educating me about their laundromat. I'm going to go there.
yeah,
And nobody from India is ever going to come to your laundromat and Cincinnati.
exactly. Exactly. That's the pieces. Especially if you location tag those posts too, you have the location tag of like it's Cincinnati, you do the nearby towns, right, near Cincinnati, and you're location tagging those, you're gonna be the go-to laundromat after a while.
Hmm.
People will be like, oh yeah, Rob's laundromat over there. They're always putting up content to help you do your laundry more efficiently, how to, save a buck on soap here, they're showing you how to do this and how they can help you with that. I want to go there, right?
Hmm.
Because you've already given them information, but you've also created trust. You've also entertained them because, you did a funny video with like, squirting laundry soaps over or something, and so now they just think this is the place to go. It builds a lot more trust with those people that are actually going to buy from you. You might only have 100, 300 followers at the time, but if 50 of those or 10 of those or whatever are become clients, that's a lot better than 10,000 followers from India that will never buy from you.
Right. And everybody says, well, Rob, you have to hire an influencer. Why don't
Mm-mm.
you become your own influencer?
Yep.
Make your own videos. The problem with hiring an outside influencer is that just as easy as they can build your numbers, they can destroy your numbers. They can
Yep.
say the wrong thing and people will never come to you ever again.
Exactly. And again, going back to if it's a brick and mortar, right? If you're hiring an influencer that's not in your local area and they're getting you a ton of followers, are they going to convert to your actual clients? Maybe you get one or two from there, but now Facebook and Instagram are like, oh, most of your followers are from all the United States, so we're just going to keep throwing you across the United States instead of building your following from the beginning to, that brick and mortar store area. Or, if you're like, I help all US based businesses, now you have like this bigger pot of people that aren't ideal.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the problem with a lot of people that are on social media right now is that they don't know how to use their own personal brand to build a local or more localized service. I mean, for me, none of my clients are local. They're all, I think my closest client is maybe an hour and a half away, but most of them are on, West Coast, East Coast, and, some of them are even outside of the United States. And that's only because they've, you know, read my books, resonated with what I've said on video. And so I've attracted an audience that's, everywhere. That's what
Mhm.
I wanted to do a long time ago. So it's finally happening.
And that's the nice thing about having an agency is that you can have clients from all over. Like you, I have one client that's local. They're 5 minutes away, a IV drip bar, and that's cool because I can literally walk in there and get content, and I know I'm getting. So that's a cool experience. But like everyone else is in Dallas or in other cities, and so for our businesses, that's great. We can target US based, and we're there.
Mhm.
Um, and so that makes it nicer for us, but not every business is set up that way. So
Right.
knowing how to operate your business on social media, because it does depend on what you do, on how you market,
Mhm.
is huge. If you're a brick and mortar, okay, we need to target the local cities. Okay, we're US based, we're going to target these people. Maybe you only serve Canadians or something. Knowing who your target audience is and then targeting them only instead of going for the bigger bowl that might have clients, but
Mhm.
will be a lot harder to reach. It works a lot better.
I like on your website you have put your face out there and get paid. And honestly, it's as easy as that.
Hmm.
Like we said, it goes back to the know, like, trust, and feel safe. And I'm losing my voice. Hang on.
It's all good.
We I've been putting my face out there for years, and I know some people have gotten therapy because they see me all the time. Um, but people get used to you. They say, Rob, I've seen your videos all these years, and you're consistent. I need to hire you. But here's the problem: is that we make videos because we're told to make videos,
Mhm.
and then we might make a year's worth, one a week, and then we stop. And so it forces marketers, agencies, whatnot, continuously use that old content in 100 different ways. We can turn them into blogs, we can recycle the videos, we can work the magic. But the
Mhm.
problem is customers start to see those videos over and over and over. And it's like a TV rerun. Although
Yeah,
most
they
people don't
tune
know
out
what that term is
eventually.
anymore, it's just like watching a program on Netflix over and over and over again.
Yep.
It's been produced older. And so for me, it's if you go on YouTube, you'll see 16 years, 17 years of me making videos. You see that evolution. And for me, it's okay. The first 100 videos I made were terrible. I started to develop my confidence. I got better. I can ad lib faster, and I don't need teleprompters and all this other stuff. I just get on and go.
Yep.
And for a lot of people, they need that visual teleprompter telling them what they need. Look, you don't need any of that, really.
Mm-mm.
Once you've done 100 videos or so, all those sucky videos are in the past, they're in behind you. You've learned how to adapt and become better.
Yep.
And so it builds your confidence. And people are like, well, Rob, it just seems so natural for you. Uh,
That's because you've done 100 videos.
so it's I've had to get comfortable behind or in front of the camera. And for a lot of people, that's tough because they
It
don't
is.
know how to speak directly into the camera.
That's one of the things that, a tip that helped me get comfortable and has helped a couple of my clients, because I was camera shy at first, is I started having my husband or someone on the other side of the camera ask me questions.
Hmm.
Because what that would do is us as humans, we naturally want to give answers. We naturally want to help other people, right? If you think about when you're having a sales conversation or anything like that, you're on point. You're like, oh, I know this material. We're good, right? So by having my husband or whoever ask me questions, I naturally go into that, okay, I'm answering a sales question or I'm answering a question to help someone grow because, I just like to help people. And so that made it a lot easier for me was to just have someone asking me questions behind the camera. And I was looking into the camera, so, I still face
Hmm.
looking there, but the pressure was off because I felt like I was helping someone instead of having a monologue
Right.
into the camera.
And this is a lot of the reasons why, at least for this podcast, I don't have prepared questions. I just want a conversation because it helps make my guests more at ease, and
Mhm.
and they become more real, more raw, more authentic with their answers. If I would if I would prepare the questions and send them to them, as soon as I ask that question, they're going to speed through the answer because they're nervous, and it'll sound more prepared. And I don't want that. I want the person that my guest to feel comfortable. And so when you're taking all that in perspective, you want your clients to feel comfortable hiring you.
Mhm.
That you're going to be there. For me, it's always been you're my friend first, my client second.
Yep.
And I want them to feel that they can trust me, that I'm going to do the work, that I'm going to hold their hand, I'm going to be there for them. And it's always worked for me because of my personality, because who I am.
Yeah.
For others, um, you know, they try to learn these 101 different ways to, sell you a product. Tone it down. You don't need all that garbage,
No,
you know.
uh, you don't need that, and you also don't need to sell everyone. That's
Right.
the other piece is people get into scarcity mindsets or, pieces that just and I've been there before when I first started, and you're like, okay, if I can sell this many people, we're good, I'll just keep selling, blah, blah, blah. But then you get the trouble clients. You get people that aren't the ideal fit, but you took them on because they were $1 in your bank account.
Hmm.
And so being able to not just, market to just get anyone, but also to market for the right people. So
Hmm.
that way, again, going back into repelling the wrong people, attracting the right people. That happens on social media, but also happens in your sales
Yeah.
conversations, happens in everything you do. And if you're just marketing to get the dollar instead of the right clients, it's going to show. And
Yeah.
you're going to find out in the sales conversation when the person says, oh, can you do this and this and this? And you're like, oh, wait, I don't do that. Or, you start having those conversations. So, yeah.
Yeah. I over the years I focused on lawyers, doctors, and high level entrepreneurs. And people are like, well, what do you mean by high level? Well, I don't do startups because one, they don't have any money and they
Mhm.
expect so many miracles. And I'm like, miracles cost extra, people. So no, that's not happening.
Those
Um,
are my favorite.
yeah. So and I want entrepreneurs that have been around for a while. They've already developed that trust with people, but now they want to take it to the next level.
Mhm.
They want more out of their business. And they're the ones that typically listen. You
Yeah.
if I go in and they're a startup or they have, a huge committee behind them, they're never going to listen because now I have to not only tell the owner all the things that I think that they should do for their marketing, but now I have to convince their committee and nothing's ever going to get done.
Oh, yeah. When you have more than one or two people, it's a blast trying to get everyone on the same board.
Hmm.
And when it's a multiple, mm, yeah, I had an experience with that once.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And I want people to understand that, you know, yes, okay, you can have a big business, you can call the shots, but understand that people that you're hiring to help you are there for a reason. You
Mhm.
know, they if you come to me and hire me, but then treat me as an employee, I'm out of there.
Yeah,
I didn't spend, all these years developing my own business to help people just to be treated as an employee. It
to
doesn't
go
work.
back to a 9 to 5. Yeah, no, no.
And they're like, well, Rob, we're paying you big bucks. It's not about the money. It's about the respect.
Yeah, and I've had that conversation with two people. They're like, well, we're paying you, blah, blah, blah. You're paying for my experience. You're paying for the things that I've done and I know how to do. You're not paying for me as a person. You're paying for what my business can provide you and for the experience we've had to get you to there,
Right.
right? You're not paying me to sit at a desk 9 hours a day for you. That's not how this works.
Right.
You're paying for the experience. If you want an employee, go ahead and hire them, but you're gonna have to train them on all this, and you don't have the knowledge to get them there either.
Yeah. Yeah. And a few of the things that I don't do anymore is I don't provide analytics. And people are like, well, Rob, you're nuts. Everybody else does. I'm like, why should I provide analytics when 99% of the clients don't need them, don't want them, don't understand them, and then I have to spend hours, hours, people, you know, to show them how to read an analytics sheet
Yeah,
and what's working. To me, it's a waste of time. I'll add you to the analytics and you can go and look at it at your leisure, but I'm not going to spend time to explain it to you
yeah,
because you're not going to understand the numbers. You're not going to understand what it means. And as long as you're getting sales and closing sales, the analytics aren't going to mean much to you anyway.
yeah. We'll send out analytic reports once a month, but the thing is that like I'm not spending hours explaining each little piece on it. Like
No.
I'm not going through each little detail and stuff like that. If they have a question, then I'm more than willing to answer it. But at the same time, like you said, like they're not really interested in that. They're interested in the ROI. Like they're
Mhm.
interested in, is this bringing in clients? Is this bringing in leads? Right?
Mhm.
And so that's more the focus is, getting their brand out there and things like that, not so much the analytic stuff. Because when I did do that for a while, people got caught up in the followers. They got
Mhm.
caught up in well, I only grew 100 followers this month. Yeah, but they were ideal followers that, are like you already have opt-ins from them, right? You already have people opting in, you already have people interested. Wouldn't you rather have 100 people that are raving and wanting to buy your stuff than 2,000 people that would give a rat's ass and don't want to even know what you're doing,
Yeah,
right? So,
I had a
mhm,
client that we helped develop their podcast for, and we would share the podcast out once a week to their social. So they would share their videos, their podcast episodes, their blogs, everything else. And their social really wasn't growing. Um, and I can understand. They were a little upset. I said, but look, go to your podcast. Look how many people are downloading this. You've already
mhm,
had 10,000 downloads in a
yeah,
short period of time. People love your podcast. This is where you're getting your business. Doesn't matter if they're commenting or liking or following your social. They're
yep,
finding your podcast, they're clicking on it through your social, and they're listening and they're
yeah,
downloading and they're becoming clients. So maybe your ROI on your Facebook or your LinkedIn or your social isn't where you hoped it would be, but the sources that you're putting on them, the
are what
information
matters.
is getting the clients for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. That's the other misconception is people think that all their platforms, right? Every platform should be going insane growth. It should be doing all this, but not every platform is going to be ideal for your business either.
mhm,
Like, I believe you should still put content on there because you never know when that
right.
one or two people are going to be the ones that convert. However, like, don't look at all four platforms and go, oh, TikTok's down. That means we suck, right? No, but if Facebook, Instagram are doing great or LinkedIn's doing great, right? Like, okay, we want to go all in on that platform, still post to the others, but
Mhm.
we need to focus our energy on the ones that are taking off because it's true, different platforms do better for different audiences. Contractors, Instagram and Facebook, they do great, but for, more of a corporate side, that's your LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
It's depending on your business too, on what's going to do well.
So how do people find you? Where do they go?
I am on every platform as Caitlin Young Official, or social media doctor. Um, every single platform I'm there.
And your website?
So SM Doctor, don't kill me for the website name. We're going to, that was a Caitlin bought the domain, didn't think about the repercussions of the name, but then when she realized, she's like, you know what? It's gonna stay and it's gonna be an inside joke for the rest of my life and it's fine. So smdoctor.com.
Well, that's a conversation starter, but I bet you get a lot of questionable visitors.
I actually haven't. That's the surprising part is usually I'll get on a sales call with someone, they'll be like, really, SM doctor? I'm like, there's my icebreaker for the conversation. We're good.
I have so many questions, but you can't ask them on a podcast. No, you keep it
I have the
clean,
same questions, I
cleaner.
promise you.
So what's one last thing you want to say to the audience before we depart?
I would say if you have been holding off on socials, if you have been holding off on marketing, the longer you wait, the more difficult it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait or look for the magic pill that's going to solve all your problems because that's the other thing is I see people just chasing after the next quick thing. Stop chasing. Just commit to doing like Rob said, a video a day, doing a post a day, whatever it may be. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Keep it
Mhm.
simple and just start putting content out there. You're gonna see after a while what works and what doesn't. And you're able to tweak from there.
And the thing is that the more that you produce, the easier it becomes, and the
Okay.
more confidence that you have. And you might be thinking, oh, a video a day, that's a whole production. No. Look, you got these phones. You don't have to make the videos long. You can make short ones. I've made videos that were only 19 seconds long. I've made videos that were 10 minutes long. But the average of my videos is about a minute and a half.
Hmm.
Um, and I put them everywhere. And I just posted something this morning. Somebody on YouTube has already responded, and so it's like 4 hours later, and they want more information.
Yep.
So it's like I said, it all comes back to how you're going to resonate with that person at that time. Now, I've had videos that are way old that I probably should take them down because I was heavier, I was not thin, I stumbled, I stammered, all these different things. I'm going to keep them up there because the message is what I want people to understand.
Yeah, it tells a part of your story.
Yeah, and I'm still getting people, landing on those videos.
Yep.
So it's okay. TikTok is for the younger generation. I get that, but there's a lot of older people that are using it that are capturing new clients.
Hmm.
You know, I can't stand Twitter. I really can't.
I can't
And now it's
either.
X, but to me it's a dog shit filled burrito set on fire and thrown at my car. I mean,
I
it's
agree.
it's pure chaos.
Yep.
But there are people on there that could be a potential follower. You
Hmm.
know, so I still occasionally post there. One of the one of the new socials that is sort of reminiscent of the old way of Twitter is called Blue Sky,
Oh,
and it was
yes.
created by the same owner or the previous owner, Jack Dorsey of Twitter, and I like it because it's simple.
Yeah.
It's not as chaotic as Twitter was or is, um, but I'm starting to get some traction there.
Yeah.
So pick a social platform that you like, dominate it, until you feel comfortable that you can start putting your messages other places.
Yeah.
You know, but please, if you want to learn more about Caitlin, visit her website, smdoctor.com, right?
Yes. Yes.
Or find her on Facebook, on I guess you're on LinkedIn.
Yep. Caitlin Young on any of them.
But yeah, you're going to learn a lot, and so if you're not sarcastic, you're not going to like me, really, honestly. So go to Keaton.
I don't know, I'm sassy. You might not like me either. People call me a drill sergeant because I don't relent when you don't give me content. So
Yeah. We can, we do perform miracles. We do create content out of the sky, but there are things that we demand from our clients, such as, hey, give us more videos. I know you haven't produced a video in 10 years and we've been recycling this one for you give us something.
yes. Yes.
So we'll see everybody on the next episode, and thanks for listening. Adios.